Welcome to Aging Gracefully, where seniors are celebrated and growing old is appreciated and respected. Now, I am so fortunate. I am able to interview the most awesome, inspiring, and unstoppable aging adults and senior advocates with the best information and resources available today, because we're all getting older. My name is Kathryn Eyring, and I'm in Avon Lake, Ohio today with someone who is definitely aging gracefully. Welcome, Hazel Chapman.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. This should be like right at home for you because I know you had a show here for 11 years.
10 years here, a year somewhere else.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. It's like coming home.
Yeah. Pressure on me. I don't know that I can
Why?
fill
There
your
shouldn't
shoes.
be. Yeah, there shouldn't be. Yeah.
So we don't know each other real well. We're acquainted through lively Avon Lakers and things
And
around
various
town.
other times, different places. Yeah. But you're a dynamic young woman. I think that what you're doing is fantastic.
Thank you.
I'm glad I don't have to do it. But I think that because, the older we get, it seems that in some instances, the more we're undervalued.
I'm glad you brought that up. And that's something that actually I hear quite often. But nothing has slowed you down.
Oh, a lot of things. There's been a lot of obstacles. I just managed to get over them one way or the other.
So let's go back and bring ourselves all the way kind of up to this date here, because you are a native Clevelander, as I am as well. And so let's go into your childhood. That was a totally different time. I know you're one of 7
Yeah,
children.
I'm the 7th.
Right?
Yeah, and I thought that I was just as big as they were.
And you did grow up quickly in a lot of ways,
Yes,
too,
I did.
because I know we talked by 13, you were working. Tell me a little bit about that.
We had a neighborhood house. It was called the Woodland Center then, and then it changed to Garden Valley Neighborhood House. That was after I was there. And I studied, I had classes there, because my mom didn't know what to do with me, so she would send me to classes. So I had cooking class, sewing class. I even had charm classes for the good that did, And as I was growing up there, by the time I got to junior high school, they got a new administrator, and I was there helping the younger kids in dance class, and because I studied dancing there too, under they had a really great teacher. Her name was Mithalia Williams, and she did cotillions and things all over the country. Unfortunately, she had an early demise, but she was a fantastic teacher. So I was typing, and they asked me if I could type, and I said yeah, and they offered me a job, so I got a Social Security card, and they hired me
At 13?
after school at 13.
And you were also involved with politics at an early age.
I became a junior member of the NAACP when I was 13. I became a part of the citywide teen council that the neighborhood house had, and I represented the southeast side in the city of Cleveland for just trying to bring people together, because that was a time where the city was more divided than it is now. And we would have meetings and discuss the different problems and things that young people were having, that we were having at the time. And we had mentors that were very good. And it was totally interracial. And I think the Catholic Diocese participated as well. And because as I got older and got married, we would have meetings at my house, and nuns would come and other people would come, and we would discuss racial diversity and that type of thing and what could be done so that people could live a little safer and more understanding together, you know. And unfortunately, we still don't have much of that, but that's a whole different subject right now, you know.
Right.
I wasn't old enough to vote, but I worked on Lou Stokes' campaign, and I worked with George Forbes and Carl Stokes and oh God, so many other people, and different judges and state representatives, and I always had the children with me, so my children were very astute about politics and what was going on and who was who and who the governor was and who the state representatives were and who the senators were, and that kind of thing. They were really up on that type of thing. So when my daughter started writing songs about social issues and situations and stuff like that, I was in Columbus one day, and I was talking to some friends of mine, because I go back and forth to Columbus a lot, working for the state and then doing special projects with various administrations. And they said, you know, your kid didn't have a chance. she didn't, living with you, she didn't have a chance. You know.
Well, let's go back to some of this though, because your daughter, you have two girls, two adult women.
Yeah.
And the daughter you're referring to is Tracy
Right.
Chapman.
Yeah.
Who's a very popular singer-songwriter.
Well, she's a legend by now.
Yeah.
She has a following, almost a cult following throughout Europe, and she's doing quite well.
So let's go back even a little bit more, because while we're talking politics and you're growing up and you're working, you yourself are so talented.
Well, I started
you're
singing
singing.
at 3 years old in church.
Okay.
3 or 4, and it was sort of a tug of war, because my vocal teachers in school wanted me to do classical music, and my parents and people at home wanted me to do gospel. And I was crazy about blues, but I liked the other ones too, you know. They had divisions of students educationally, and since I was in the classes for the academically gifted, I was able to take typing and French and all those other things, because I've always been an overachiever, I guess, you know. But
Unstoppable.
well, I hope. I can only hope.
Well, you talk about your daughters and how you would encourage them, be their own persons.
And they are.
Follow their heart.
They're a lot tougher than I am.
What you want for them is what is best for them. Whatever they want, you really let them lead that way. So here you were modeling, performing,
and singing. I sang with a gospel group when I was growing up. When I was 12, 13, maybe 14. I sang with a gospel group, and then I went on and I was dancing at the same time and doing a little bit of modeling, and then my mother always sent me to Bible class, so that was part of it too.
and your mother. You've told me such fun stories about your mom, so I just want to add that in, because your mother loved to fish.
Yeah, she was a fisher person. Yeah, she would have my father get up extra early in the morning before he went to work, take us to the lake or to some river, and leave us, the two of us, and come back and get us when he got off from work. And she wasn't afraid. My mother was afraid of nothing, you know. She wasn't afraid. I mean, she was born and raised in Mississippi, and she could shoot a pistol or a rifle or a shotgun as good as any man, you know. But she was very beautiful, and and she was she was she was talented. She taught me my first song.
Do you remember what it was?
Uh-huh. It was a really old blues. Yeah. It was called Good Morning, Mr. Jaybird.
Okay.
Yeah.
I-
But uh but she was not well. Um
And did
she
you know it at the time? Because I know she passed young.
Yeah. When I was 7, I think, yeah, 7, she had her first massive stroke.
Oh, okay.
And she dealt with things with a lot of she let a lot of things bother her, and then she had 7 crazy children, you know.
That's a
And
challenge.
yeah, it is. And her mother had died when she was 7, so she was raised by one of her older half sisters.
No wonder she was really inventing herself, though.
Yeah,
Without a mother, she
yeah,
was creating
yeah.
her view of what she thought a mother could be.
And she had 4 or 5 stepmothers. But and she married my dad, and they left the South and moved to Indiana, and they started a business, and things, you know, the Depression came along, and there were problems, and eventually they moved to Ohio, and
Landed in the Cleveland area.
yeah, because my dad's twin sister was already living here,
Okay.
already living in Ohio, and they moved in near them. Now this was before I was born when they moved here, because I was
Okay.
born here in Ohio.
And then 6 kids had to happen before you.
Yeah,
Right.
you know, but my dad got a job, and they wanted to buy a house, but unfortunately at that time in Cleveland, mortgages were not given to people of color.
Wow.
And so they bought a house back in the early 30s. And like I said, I
They
wasn't
had to-
born.
and
Yeah.
they had to wait then till
Well,
they were ready to.
no, they bought it land contract
Okay.
from a lady who was moving to Florida. And I managed to save that deed.
No
I still have it in
kidding.
my possession of that first house that they bought. You know, because by the time I got here, they had already, you know, they were a lot more established. But they were resourceful.
So you learned a lot from them.
Yeah, I did. And I really wanted to, you know, because I always wanted to know how to do things and how to fix things and how to be independent. I was one of the first female professional football players in the U.S.
There we go.
Yeah, I was
And
just
now-
one of them.
now
You
who
know,
would
there had to
think
be
this?
others too.
Right.
You know? Yeah, yeah. And
But football player and you know, that's kind of hard to put in the brain.
well, you know what? I mean, I needed it at the time. I was in an extremely bad marriage, and I wanted to get out of it. And I saw an advertisement in the newspaper. They were advertising for female football players, and I went and I tried out because
And you're
it
a
was a
mother at
job.
this
Yeah,
time.
yeah. I had 2 kids, and I tried out, and Marion Motley was the coach, and his son Ray Motley was assistant coach, and we ran wind sprints, and we pushed sleighs, and we did all kinds of things, and I, for some reason, they thought I was really good, so I started playing football. They supplied our uniforms, and we had to buy our own mouthpieces and our cleats. but other than that, they supplied everything, and we got so much money per game, and they supplied the buses for us to travel because we went to different states to play.
Amazing. So is this like a year,
I did it
5
for
years?
3 years.
3 years of that.
Hmm.
So moving on with career too, because I know some of these things, but I don't know exactly the order of things. Because another one that surprised me, dental assistant.
Yeah, well, after I was divorced, I took a number of jobs, and they weren't something that I wanted to do because um, I I was a member of the United Rubber Workers Union. I operated a punch press in a huge factory, and then I worked for another company that did these the little stickers you put on license plates. They made those kinds of things, and the things that the decals that you see on these huge over the road trucks.
Okay.
Well, I helped make those, and actually was sent out of town to a company to clean up an order that that wasn't quite what it should have been. So, but I didn't like leaving my children.
No.
You know, I had friends that would help me out, but I didn't like leaving the kids. So then I found out that I could go to. I had my GED because I didn't have time to go back to school and finish. I just got a GED, and when I did that, I ranked 65th in the state. So I was real proud of that. And with that, I was able to get a scholarship and go to school and become either a practical nurse or a dental assistant. And I'm not good with people throwing up, and I'm not good with bedpans. So I opted for dental assisting.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you did complete it.
Yeah, I completed it. I got my diploma, and I became, in 1972, I was certified by the American Dental Association, and I graduated in the top 10 of my class.
Brilliant. But now,
And I worked at it for a minute.
I was going to say, but that didn't last long.
Yeah, so,
Now we've got years of working with the state of Ohio, too.
Yeah. I worked for the state of Ohio for over 27 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
And
accomplished a lot to be proud of there, too.
yeah, I was kept pretty busy.
You overachiever. They figured that out pretty quick.
Well, we needed collective bargaining, and we had some quasi union representation, but nothing concrete, and there was no paperwork to take to make it work. I mean, you have things that, well, we've done this for years, but there's no written criteria for it.
Or enforceable.
And nothing enforceable. Yeah.
Okay.
So once we finally got collective bargaining, I was elected as one of the representatives to help create a labor management contract on the labor side. So I did that, and then I was also chosen as a negotiator. So after we had done that, and that took a while, running back and forth to Columbus, because everything here happens in Columbus, everything that happens from here. And then I spent a number of weeks in Columbus helping to negotiate a contract, the first OSHA ASME contract that state of Ohio employees ever had. And at that time, we had to we had a hard time getting it, but we had to get bonuses put into the contract because some Ohio state employees were paid so little. And the only state at that time that was paid less, that their employees was paid less than Ohio, was Mississippi. I performed at Arabica Coffee House over on Case Western Reserve's campus every week. So I would leave my job downtown, drive to the campus, and
you'd be singing.
yeah, and doing poetry and stuff like. Do you know who Phil Oakes is?
No.
Okay, he was a folk singer.
Okay.
And he was very serious about it. He eventually committed suicide because he was so frustrated with the way that things were going. He was a self-anointed freedom fighter in Mississippi.
Okay.
During the integration and what have you, and he wrote songs about it all the time. And one of his songs, I loved all of his songs, but one that I would do, because they recruited me to participate. So each year when they would come here to Ohio, we would perform either at Cooler's house over on the campus, or the one of the smaller theaters, or what have you, and it raised money and it raised awareness. So I did that for about 3 years, and then.
But you did some big venues as well.
Well, yeah. Bonnie Raitt, when she was in Ohio doing the last Lilith Fair, invited me to come and perform with her and Sarah McLachlan and India Eyring at Blossom.
Blossom, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got to perform at Blossom, and we had a wonderful time. She's just really good people. And then I've done Playhouse Square for various things, and I've done the auditorium at Tracy, and I've
Palace
done,
Theater,
yeah,
I believe.
No,
In Lorraine,
the Ohio.
didn't you do that one?
Yeah, I did the Palace Theater in Lorraine. In Lorraine, I was the vamp. I was a blues singer, and to raise money for St. John's Hospital. And then, let's see, I've done a number of colleges and universities throughout the country.
And out of the country.
Yeah.
You've been in Europe.
Yeah, and in Europe.
Performing as well. You've seen a lot of change, and you've been so involved with change as well.
Yeah, but it hasn't been enough, and some of it is going backwards, because one of the reasons that I got really involved, I became a member of National Organization of Women, because they helped me learn about how I could be a part of, and let me be a part of, what was going on. And through them, they were, through one of their people, I was asked to sing in downtown Public Square, because Tipper Gore had asked them to ask me to do that. And what happened was that even though I'd been asked to do it, and of course I said yes, and I get this call, and these people say, well, we're from Secret Service, and we want you to know that we're checking you out, that kind of thing. And then Hillary traded with Tipper, and she came. So instead of Tipper Gore. Okay. And when I got there, the guy from Secret Service clued me in on what I should be doing and what I should not be doing. And he gave me a pin that had a chip in it so that they could keep track of me. And he also told me Oh, and Allie McGraw was there too, and we had a ball because she is a crazy woman.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, potty mouth, but a lot. She's nice, but she's just nuts. Um, and he said, "Mrs. Clinton wants you to stay on stage and welcome her when she comes." So I did that, and that was quite interesting.
Oh my gosh.
And then we all sang together on stage, and there was a newspaper man out there taking pictures and stuff. So, and he sent me pictures of all of that.
So you have incredible memories.
Yeah, yeah.
Incredible
I mean, there's
feats
so
and-
much more, but you know,
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
know. Because every time we talk, I'm amazed and surprised. And let's just not even forget that the jewelry you're wearing, that you make your
oh yeah,
own jewelry.
yeah. I
and
make
it's
my jewelry, and I
fantastic.
design it, and I
Beautiful.
make it, and I love doing it, and I love singing, and I don't dance that much anymore because I was quite a dancer at one point in time. But you know, age will make you change that a little bit. But
Well, we talked about how when you get older, you're just more decisive of what you want to
yeah,
do.
how you spend your energy, you know.
Right.
But I can basically do the same things that I always did, maybe not to the same degree, but I can. I don't feel that inside that I'm as old as I am, you know.
Which,
And I'm in my 70s,
yes.
you know, and neither and in addition to that, I don't date anybody in their 70s.
But I love this about you. You're passionate.
Yeah,
you
I
are
am.
truly passionate. You know yourself. You know what you like and what you love and who you love.
Yeah, and I feel a certain steadiness because I love my children tremendously. They will always be my first love. You know, they are the only people in the world I will put before myself. You know, and the rest of the world's just going to have to carry on for themselves because I think I've earned the right to do those things that make me happy and keep me well.
Right. So that being said, let's move on to Hazel's best advice.
Oh, goodness.
Okay. So with all that you've done, really, truly amazing things, worthy of bragging.
Yeah, I'm proud of
should
the
be.
things that I've done, you know. And one group even declared me a living legend.
Wonderful. What an honor.
And I have my own. I got my own day declared by the mayors of 3 different cities: Cleveland, Euclid, and East Cleveland.
How many people have that?
I've got 3 Hazel Chapman days. Yeah.
What would you say would be your superpower of life?
The ability to perceive negativity quickly.
In order to avoid it?
Yeah,
in
order to separate myself from it, whether it's a person or an action or whatever. And I have no qualms about shutting the door on things that I think are a waste of time, that are not right, that are immoral, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Recognize it and stay away from it.
Yeah.
Would you say anyone in their 70s has had a lot of loss? And for you, I know parents, siblings, different friends.
Yeah.
What advice can you give for heartbreak and loss? How do you move on and keep going?
I think that's a personal thing for most people. It is for me. I know how I deal with it, but I don't presume to tell anyone else how they should deal with it, except to allow themselves to heal in their own time. and understand that, you know, by the grace of God, you're still here. And obviously, and I consider myself a religious person. Uh, I, I think about it, and it's just, God's not through with me yet. So if, you know, if that's the way you think about it, it makes some sort of sense.
Right.
So that's the way I have to deal with it, you know, because you're always going to hurt. It's always going to be difficult. It's never going to be easy. Nobody likes losing someone that they care about. And it's so final, you know. No, I really can't. I really can't tell somebody how to deal with that.
But I love what you said, that if you think to yourself, all right, it's painful for me to be left behind, but what is my purpose then?
Yeah, must have a purpose. Otherwise, I figure if we don't have a purpose, we be gone. You know, and the only thing that really bothers me is that some people, not all, because some people, if they're gone, it's like, oh gee, but some people, it's like they left too soon. You know, but what are you going to do? You can't turn things around.
We want to question why, but there's no answer.
Yeah, so you can't turn things around. And I know that I have to be strong enough to deal with it, because I'm not going to just lay down and die. Not for myself, not for anybody.
Right.
And I'm a fighter.
Well, and you're confident. So what got you to this point in life where, and I have the feeling you've been a confident woman for many, many years, but what would you say builds confidence? A younger woman who feels undervalued, meek, underconfident, whatever. What advice can you give for that?
I changed when I knew I had to be strong for my children. And I would go through hell for my children. So it gives you that feeling of some invincibility.
So maybe adversity then.
Yeah.
Rather than
Yeah.
going down with it.
Yeah.
Digging in and saying, I'm going to get through.
Yeah. You know,
And
because
then each time
I have to
takes
do it.
you-
Yeah, I have to do it for them. And then once they got to a point where they're a lot tougher than I am, and once they got to that point, and both psychologically and economically, then it was my turn. And if I don't stand up for me, nobody else is. You know, and I wanted them to be able to be strong. A lot of times I was so scared inside when I was with them that it was just awful. And I didn't think that they recognized it. But after talking to them years later, I was told, yeah, well, we knew, but we knew that you'd get through.
Wow.
You know, we knew you were afraid, but we knew that fear, when something frightens me, when I have fear, I don't have sense enough to retreat. You know.
Well, I think we're kind of alike this way too. I feel afraid, then I think, what is making me afraid? Oh, I have to overcome this.
Yeah, I'm going to do this.
Yeah,
yeah.
oh, I have to.
Yeah,
The
You know.
best advice for aging gracefully then?
Be a person that you can love.
I love that. Yeah.
You know, be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, you know, I'm proud of me. I care about myself.
So thank you.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you
welcome.
so much for being here today. I think really wonderful advice for strength and confidence, perseverance, a lot of things to learn.
Perseverance is very, very important, because, you know, you can't say that you're never going to be knocked down, but you can get up.
I love it, right.
You know, as long as you can get back up, you're not a loser. You know, if you let someone put you down and you stay down there, then you've lost, and you can't allow them to have that kind of victory over you.
Right, because you've lost yourself.
Yeah. It's not worth it.
Thank you again.
Oh, you are so welcome.
And thank you so much for watching today's show. And please enjoy the clips of Hazel performing that we'll have right after this. I don't know who I like better singing the songs. As I've said, I think you, Tracy, I don't know. I love both versions. Anyway, if you would like to be on the show, you have something you have to say of interest, please let me know. And if you know of someone you think would be a good candidate, again, please let me know. Thank you, Hazel.
Give me one reason to stay here. Oh, and I'll turn right back around. You know I don't want to leave you lonely, but you gotta make me change my mind.